No one inside that military boxing hall expected the silence that followed. It started with laughter, deep, confident, heavy. "You're too small." The voice belonged to a 300-pound military heavyweight, a man known for breaking sparring partners in under a minute. Standing across from him was Bruce Lee. Lean, calm, almost unimpressive by comparison. A few soldiers smirked, some folded their arms. Most of them believed the same thing. This would end quickly. They were right. It did. Just not the way anyone expected. This wasn't a civilian gym. It was a military boxing program, designed for pressure, endurance, and controlled violence. Concrete floors, steel beams, heavy bags swinging from chains thick as wrists. No music, no audience, just soldiers training to hit harder, move faster, and endure more than the average man. Inside these walls, reputation wasn't built through theory. It was built through impact. You proved yourself physically, or you didn't prove yourself at all. The men standing around that ring that day respected one thing: power, and the 300-pound heavyweight at the centre of the room had plenty of it. When he stepped into a ring, people moved. When he laughed, others usually stopped smiling. No one had ever challenged him inside that facility. Without quickly realising how large the difference in weight really was, and now, standing across from him, was a man barely half his size. Sergeant Marcus Donovan didn't look like a sparring partner. He looked like a wall, 6'4", 300 pounds, shoulders wide enough to block light. His hands were wrapped thick, knuckles scarred from years of contact. Inside the military boxing program, he wasn't just respected, he was avoided. Heavyweight champion of the base, knockout reputation. Known for ending sessions early, not because he lacked stamina, but because his opponents did. He didn't move fast. He didn't need to. When he stepped forward, most men stepped back. His fighting style was simple. Forward pressure, crushing hooks, body shots that folded ribs, efficiency through force. To the soldiers watching that afternoon, this wasn't a fair matchup. This was physics, mass versus speed, and physics, they believed, always wins. Marcus looked at Bruce once more, eyes scanning him from head to toe. Then he chuckled. "You sure you're in the right room?" he asked quietly. The soldiers nearby heard it and smiled. Bruce Lee didn't react to the laughter, didn't explain himself, didn't defend his size. He simply stood there. Calm posture, hands loose at his sides, breathing steady. In a room built on intimidation, his stillness felt out of place. He didn't carry himself like a man trying to prove something. He carried himself like a man observing something, measuring distance, reading weight distribution, watching how Marcus shifted when he laughed. A few soldiers exchanged looks. Some saw confidence, others saw foolishness. Compared to the 300-pound heavyweight in front of him, Bruce looked small, compact, almost fragile. But there was something in his eyes that didn't match his frame. No fear, no tension, just focus. Marcus stepped closer. The size difference became undeniable. "You're too small for this," he said plainly, not yelling, not mocking dramatically, just stating what everyone in the room was already thinking. The room tightened, because now the difference wasn't theoretical, it was personal. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Boxing isn't philosophy," he said calmly. "It's weight, it's impact." A few soldiers chuckled softly. Bruce remained still. Marcus circled him once, deliberately. "You might be fast," he added, "but speed doesn't matter when you're under 300 pounds. The statement wasn't shouted, it was clinical, and that made it heavier. The soldiers around them weren't jeering, they were observing, evaluating. In this environment, size meant authority. Mass meant dominant, and Bruce looked outmatched. Marcus stepped close enough that Bruce could feel his presence. "You're too small," he repeated, this time slower. The words hung in the air. Bruce finally spoke. "Size is visible," he said quietly. "Timing isn't." A few soldiers shifted slightly. Marcus smiled faintly. "Timing doesn't stop gravity," he replied. And that was when the circle began to form. Training slowed. Heavy bags stopped swinging. Footsteps quieted. Soldiers gathered around the open floor. Not tightly, but enough to create a perimeter of attention. Marcus noticed. His posture changed slightly. He wasn't just sparring now. He was defending his status. "You walked into a military boxing hall," he said, voice steady. "You understand what that means?" Bruce nodded once. It means men test what they believe. Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. And what do you believe? That efficiency beats force, Bruce replied. A murmur passed through the outer edge of the circle. Marcus exhaled slowly. Force wins wars, he said. Force wins when it connects, Bruce answered. Silence. The tension was no longer casual. It was structural. Marcus raised his hands. Let's see if efficiency survives weight. He stepped into range. Not wildly, not recklessly. Confident. Certain. The room tightened, because now there was only one way this would resolve, and in the minds of most soldiers watching, the outcome had already been decided. They just didn't realize. They had miscalculated. Marcus moved first. A probing jab. Heavy, direct, not full power. Testing. Bruce shifted half an inch. The glove passed where his face had been. No dramatic dodge. Just absence. Marcus followed with a short hook. Tighter. Faster. Again, Bruce wasn't there. This time he didn't retreat. He angled. A step off the centerline so small. It looked accidental. The soldiers watching began to notice something subtle. Marcus was swinging. Bruce was deciding. Marcus increased pressure, closed distance. If he could touch him once, just once, mass would matter. Bruce stepped inside the arc of the next punch, not backward, inside. A short, precise strike touched Marcus's chest, not hard enough to injure, but sharp enough to register. Marcus paused for half a breath. That pause was the first crack in certainty. Marcus committed. A full forward combination. Jab, cross, hook. Power behind it. 300 pounds shifting forward with intent. Bruce moved, not faster in a frantic way. Cleaner. He slipped outside the jab. Intercepted the cross with a redirection, not blocking, just guiding it past him. And before the hook completed its arc, Bruce's lead hand snapped forward, straight, compact, precise. It landed against Marcus's sternum, not crushing, but disruptive. The heavyweight's balance shifted backward. Bruce didn't chase wildly. He stepped with him. Another straight punch, same target. Not wide, not dramatic, mechanical. Marcus tried to reset. His feet were half a beat behind his upper body now. Bruce pivoted. Low sweep. Not powerful. Timed. Marcus's base destabilized. 300 pounds doesn't fall easily. But 300 pounds off balance. Falls like anything else. The heavyweight stumbled backward, 2 steps. Then down. Not violently, but undeniably. The room went silent. Bruce stepped back immediately, hands lowered, no celebration. Marcus sat there for a moment, breathing heavy, processing. He wasn't hurt, but something had shifted. Force had met efficiency, and efficiency had dictated the exchange. Marcus rose slowly. The soldiers around them did not cheer. They did not mock. They simply watched. The heavyweight looked at Bruce carefully now, not dismissively, not amused, studying. "You're fast," Marcus said finally. Bruce shook his head slightly. "Not fast," he replied. "Early." Marcus absorbed that. Early. The difference between reacting and intercepting. He extended his hand. Bruce accepted it. Firm grip. No hostility. The message was understood. Later that day, the story would spread quietly across the base. Not exaggerated. Not mythologized. Just told in measured tones. The 300-pound military boxer who believed size guaranteed dominance had learned something most men never do. Mass matters. But timing decides. Bruce didn't walk in proving he was stronger. He walked in proving he was sharper. And in a world that worships visible power, that lesson is rarely understood. Until it's too late. Marcus thought Bruce was too small. What he didn't realize was that size only matters if you can land. And by the time he understood that, it was already over.